Today it is my real pleasure to speak with Stefanos Koutsoumpis. Stefane, you help men who appear successful on the outside find the inner stability and contentment they have been missing. I'm excited to speak with you today. Welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure.
Hi, it's a pleasure and honor for me as well.
It's also nice to speak with a fellow Greek, so it is really nice to speak with you. And the main topic, Stephanie, that I want to explore with you today is emotional skills of men in particular, which you are focusing on, and both of us are, and someone listening will probably relate very much. So we're talking about emotional skills, or actually it is your phrase, which I'm borrowing now. You talk about
Mhm.
emotional skills that men were never taught. So let's start with this. What do you mean by that? And we will unfold it from then on.
Sure. When I start and ask the question of who is more emotionally intelligent, men or women, most of
Hmm.
the time the answer is it's women, of course.
Yes.
And if we try to go back to the theory of what emotional intelligence is, this is not quite accurate because based on the model there are different interpretations, but in the model that we will be using here, emotional intelligence is about self insight and self awareness. It's
Hmm.
about being able to motivate yourself, so finding ways to work with yourself. And then it's about social awareness, understanding the how other people are feeling, and about being able to connect with other people. So men actually, they can be very well self-motivated. This is our strong part. Self-insight is a strange subject. No one is good at that. Well, when we're younger, at least. But when we're moving to social awareness and empathy, this is where women are better. They can understand how other people are feeling. They're more empathetic. They will empathize with you and try to nourish you when you are feeling bad. And this is not something we're doing with us men. So this is the part that we're not strong at. It's not that we're not emotionally intelligent, but we lack, or actually we gravitate towards the inter intelligence and not the intra intelligence of other people.
Hmm.
And there are many reasons for that. And some of them are biological because, we were born and we were, this is our nature. And you can see that when you are looking at little babies. The baby girls will look their mothers and their fathers in the eyes, and they'll stay there and they will mimic their emotions and their facial expressions. And boys, they will just look at anything else, at their toys, at what is happening, but they don't care about faces. So they are not taught at early age because, it's not their talent at that point. They're not taught how to understand emotions. And even growing up, you never go back to that, to actually looking at other people, empathizing with other people, having these mental exercises of what Agi might feel like right now, or what happened to him. So today he has a good day or a bad day. What happened to him yesterday? This is not something we practice a lot. So we are not taught. And if you are lucky, then maybe your environment will help you growing up. But if you are like most of us, you will never learn this skill. And this will create a lot of communication issues with both men and women because communication is a challenge no matter what is the gender.
Let's talk about this. What you just said about the drawbacks, the issues that men have because exactly because they do not have these skills, or they were not taught these skills. And there's you mentioned social awareness and empathy, and I I also understand, the difference. There is a biological difference for sure, and perhaps it is more of a quality that women have more easily than men. But so I appreciate all that, and the part of how we learned since children. So tell me a bit more about you mentioned communication problems. How does the this lack of emotional awareness or skills translate into communication problems?
Mhm. Of course, yeah. We are thinking a lot about leaders, or we want to build our own teams or companies, or whatever. And a big part of that is, being able to motivate others, to understand their motives and give them what they need, and also understand what happens below the table. What are the relationships of other people, why some people are working well together and some people are not working well together. And this is a part where we can be helped a lot by our emotional skills. If you think back to gossiping, has been around for as long as we are on the planet, and there are social reasons, for example, for that. Uh, Gossiping is the easiest way to learn what are the relationships of other people. So how you get to know
Mhm.
uh, who will cooperate with whom, and this can be helpful in business. I mean, uh, which partner is working well with which other partner, and why? What are their relationships? This is one part that's really helpful. Then again, empathizing and understanding other people uh, is can help you a lot to work with them, but also can help them a lot to be able to feel heard and feel understood. And when we are working with someone, it's a human relationship, and if it's purely transactional, it can't work. And we're seeing this a lot, not only business but in general. A lot of our communication is, it's written communication, it's through messages, and this is transactional a lot, and there is a lot of miscommunication because through the written text you can't quite understand how the other people is thinking or feeling or what they need or what is their status maybe. And most of the times when you have a long chain of emails that make no sense, what's the solution? It's let's have a meeting, let's try to see each other. When you're doing an important deal, you're having meetings in person, because there the communication is even more important, and
Mhm.
even slighter details like, okay, how someone will stand or look or frown maybe, this can be all information that we are missing when we are on a camera.
Mhm.
So these are skills that can be taught. And of course, we have a lot of leaders, both men and women, who use them a lot. But this is where we are struggling most of the time with our collaborators or with our partners or our colleagues. This is a big part of emotional intelligence in the field, on the umbrella of emotional intelligence.
Mhm. So for someone, a man now listening to us and saying, okay, Stefano, what is the I hear what you're saying, that I'm missing some emotional skills. How can I start building them? And I will, in particular, because you mentioned empathy, let's explain that. So someone listening now would like to build that skill, that ability to be more empathetic and understand the others more. What would you suggest that they start with?
Okay, um, it's all these things are embodied experiences. Understanding other people has to do a lot with understanding on a subconscious level. most of the time. I'm mentioning this because we think, okay, I'll read the book, and I was like that. I'll read the book about body language, and I'll know body language. I'll read the book about emotional intelligence, and then I will be good at that. And I did that, and I was not good, because all these things need to be experienced to be learned. And a quick analogy is, like riding a bike. I can give you a book and you can learn all about riding a bike. And when you go to actually ride a bike, you will fall, most probably. But if you take a child that's 4 and he already knows how to do that, he can't explain it with words, but he can do it. So it's the same for empathy, for example. You need to experience it, and you experience it by bringing up, first of all, questions to yourself. Okay, like I said before, how is Agi feeling right now? How would I feel if I was in his spot? What is happening in his life? And we want to sit down and listen to the other person, and really listen, without any judgments or any conclusions or anything. Just listen what is going on in his life. I have a friend who has a serious gambling addiction, and it's very easy to tell that, okay, man, you have a problem, stop that. Why are you doing that? And this is the easiest solution for all the people who are from the outside. And of course, he can understand that, okay, something is not going quite well, but he can't get out of that. If it was just the ideas or just the logic part, we wouldn't have such problems in the world. So in that case, I need to sit there and say, okay, what is going on in his life? Why is he acting in such a peculiar way? Why is he doing this to his family and to his wife, to his children? And I don't need to find an answer, but just the act of asking myself and trying to put myself in his shoes will give me plenty of insights to start understanding what is going on in his life. So in a business environment, you connect with other people on an emotional and a human level that will, pave the road to work better together after that. We're always doing some small talk or some chit chat. This is deeper, and this will work deeper.
Most certainly. And, I liked that you put a question that how would I feel if I were in his position, which makes it, as a way to practice, because I think that is the correct word for this, to practice being more empathetic. If we think about or remember that question, how would I feel if I were in this person's shoes? That makes it much easier to get into that state. And what you said, and you answered my question with what you said about the embodied experience. So you can read the books about empathy but they won't make you more empathetic. Just you can read everything there is, you will learn things, but it's applying them that will make the difference. I don't know if you want to add anything to this particular topic that we've been talking about before we move on.
The most important thing is that you need to not have it in mind as a hack or as a party trick, or as something that will help you move faster in your life or in your career. This is something crucial in order to be able to connect with other people, to connect with yourself, and you will actually feel better with yourself when you practice those skills. And this is, the reason and the view that I'm having when I'm talking about these things. I don't care that much about, if someone will get a raise or if he'll have his business deal, but I care a lot if he will be happier. and how he will feel and how he will address his stress in his life and how he will be able to motivate himself. So this is why I'm mentioning these as emotional skills, because they are really skills that you learn and help you, and it's not something that you do just to have some quick results. It won't work if you see it that way.
Mhm. Sure. I appreciate the clarification on this. I would like to bridge what we've been discussing, these emotional skills or the lack of them. And I want to hear your thoughts on how they are affecting and they are related men's mental health, because there is, especially with men, there is a lot of things that are not being said, and and mental health does deserve much more openness and ability to speak about it without any negative correlations and so on. But let's not go into that at all. My question is, tell us the correlation or the how those the lack of these emotional skills that you've been saying can affect or influence a man's mental health.
The emotions are giving you a signal when something is not working well. And this signal can be purely emotional, like, okay, I'm feeling uneasy, or I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling sad. Or when you don't hear this signal, it can be even embodied, which is, I have a back pain issue, or a gut issue, IBS, or maybe I have migraines all the time. And if you still cannot hear this, then the issues will continue and multiply, and maybe they will develop into real health, physical health problems or mental health problems. I've been, unlucky to have some people in my circle who have experienced work burnout. And what's very common for people who do experience work burnout is that they can't hear the signals of stress coming up until they are in the other side, of the hill, until they are downhill already and speeding to the ground. This is why it's important to be able to hear the signals. This is the main idea. Another thing is that I've been always in my life being very close to the hill of burnout, trying always to stay a bit behind going down. And this has to do with my understanding, of stress and productivity, and trying to be as productive as I can be without, burning out. And this is the path most people are making. They're trying to do their most in their time and have the most results, as we say. In that exercise, I never took into account how I was feeling, if I was happy with the results I was getting. I thought, getting a raise, for example, or doing 2 more hobbies, doing more things, would lead to me being happier, because it's a quantity thing. And when I started understanding how I feel about all the things I did, I found that there is a lot of stress, negative stress, related to trying too hard to do everything. And it's also a productivity trap, because it's not working like that. But getting back to emotions, there is a way for you to understand what is worth it, what's your purpose, why are you doing the things that you are doing. Most of the time, especially with work, and if you are working in the corporate, this is you can see that a lot. People are always chasing some kind of goal. You never get to the end of it, because you will never get to the end of it. The world is huge, and you never know when it's enough. We never know when enough is enough. No. So this is how men's mental health is affected. You are led to burnout, you are led to being stressed all the time, or you are led, to there's another kind of burnout that's emotional one, and people are getting, especially when they are older, they are getting very cynic. They don't really care about things, but they still can keep pushing, and they keep pushing until getting nowhere actually.
You said, and I would like to go to that, people that have experienced burnout, they don't hear the signals. I think that's the phrase you used. So I would like to hear from your experience as a coach, what are some of these common or more common signals that people fail to pay attention to?
When you are very close to burnout, there are very loud signals. Your body will tell you. Your body starts crashing. I mean, there is always there are gut issues. This is
Let's
pretty
go a
common.
bit further back. Let's yes, let's hope that someone is not just one step before the burnout, but earlier on.
Let's go even earlier on and get some values of how we want to feel every day. Okay,
Hmm.
so if you ask someone if he wants to be sad or happy, most probably he wants to be happy. He wants to be relaxed. He wants to have good, quality time with friends, with his family, with his children, if he has. He wants to have friends. Okay, let's take this, and of course, we want to have purpose in our life,
Hmm.
something to motivate us.
Hmm.
So this is where we want to look at. And if we miss all those things, if someone misses, small everyday happy moments, small everyday moments of gratitude, or okay, I'm doing something in my life, my work is meaningful, or
Hmm.
my work that pays me, or my work after the office, whatever I'm doing is meaningful. If I'm happy with the people I have around me, this is where we want to look at. So this is the earliest signals we can have. If there is a big season in my life that I don't feel that I'm happy, I'm content, because maybe I don't have people who understand me, or maybe I'm feeling that there is no reason for the things I'm doing. I'm totally unmotivated, or maybe I purely feel disappointed in my life, or sad, or I have this feeling that things won't turn around soon. This is the earliest possible signal. And because all these things are very unpleasant and we don't want to interact with them, this is why some of us will choose to escape from that with work. And this is where the burnout will come. And some other people will go to addictions. And this is where addictions are coming up. So the early signal is uh, that feeling that will lead us to escaping by staying busy. So the question will be, okay, why I'm still busy? Why I'm still doing this? There. Is there a reason why I'm doing this?
That's great. And uh, I will bring it again with the men in particular, with what we were saying. And I know that you do run men's groups. So, for someone listening to us right now that has been, perhaps they have heard about a men's group, but they have not experienced one. Personally, I have experienced one, and I will say that it is very liberating to be understood about matters that, other men can hear you out. And we normally, as men, tend to not to open up easily. So it is a very empowering environment, to open up and be free. So I would like to hear your thoughts on, the importance or the benefit of participating in a men's group for someone who has, been intrigued by this conversation so far?
Most of us, we've never been actually heard until we are
Mm.
really, really, really old. Maybe your wife will hear you out, or maybe your children, your daughters will hear you out. But most of us will never be heard by our parents, our friends, our colleagues. We don't have this culture, and we don't give it enough attention. When we're speaking with a friend, you are out for a beer or for a coffee, you don't actually listen to him. You are just sharing news. So we never are given the space to really open the valves and let some steam off.
Mm.
So this is the most important part of what is happening in the men's groups. You are given the space to open up and the time you need to open up. And you have other people who are interested in what is happening with you. And there is zero judgment in what you are saying. We have a rule of not giving any advice. We treat everyone, as an adult. And I strongly believe that everyone can find his own solutions to his own problems, given enough space to distress, to take out some of the heat, so he can start being creative, so he can start finding some hope in his life. And I think this is the most important part. I know from what I'm told by the people who are joining that they always want to support other people as well. And this is very rare to find a supportive environment where people genuinely want to give to you whatever you need. And most of the time, what we need, is acceptance. So you get a lot of that in the group. And this is why it's so much liberating, as you were describing.
And it also goes back to what we were saying in the beginning of the conversation about, empathy and how to go into their position and try to understand what they're saying and how they're feeling. So it is very, coming full circle in a way. With Stephanie, as we're starting to close up this conversation, which has been, I believe, very informative, and I think that someone listening has picked something, and I will now the word embodiment that you mentioned earlier comes to my mind. So I'm really hoping that whatever inspiration from this conversation becomes embodied in a way. I know that you have an ebook that you would like to offer to the listeners, so I would like to hear about that, and where can we find it?
This morning I was listening about why most New Year resolutions are failing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, we are very motivated, but we don't have any habits or any rituals to follow them through. And on the contrary, for example, everyone more or less brushes their teeth every day. This is a good habit that we have adopted since a young age. And there is zero motivation there. We just do it, but we feel uneasy if we don't do that. So getting back to the motivation and to the offer, I have a small guide with 5 ways you can feel happier today. And there are 5 different practices someone can do every day, and they take from 5 to 10 minutes. And by keep practicing those, you will, or anyone who tries that, will start feeling difference in a couple of days just by going through the motions. And it's like we were saying earlier, you need to have those 5 good minutes in your day that will give you power and sustain you. And this is what it's about. And again, it's important to have them every day, so to make them habitual.
Mhm.
So I describe this in this free guide. People can find them on my website.
Mhm.
I'll give you you have the link already. And yeah, it's things that work.
They certainly do, and thank you for that. They work if one works them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they don't work on their own. So it comes back, and I will say that word again that I mentioned, embodiment. And the way to embody it is by practicing it. And what you said about a habit, and also from my own personal experience, there is no magic button that you can press one day and the next day you are instantly happy. It is, or empathetic, or whatever other skill you would like to improve and build. It is a process, and it is what you are saying about putting the ritual there and doing
Mhm.
it, even if it's only a couple of minutes a day. When it's done every day, it becomes a part of you, and that's
Mhm.
where the real change and growth comes with. I want to thank you very much. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm hoping that someone that has listened to us so far will take some action as a result of this conversation, whether that is downloading your guide, or something that they picked up and they will do. Wishing you all the very best with your mission to help and empower men, which is so much needed in the times that we live. I will leave it to you for your parting words, and if you have any other message for the listener of this conversation.
I will leave it, by saying that it's important to give ourselves the permission to be human, to
Mm.
feel, to be tired, to be stressed, to be happy, maybe, to enjoy things. So that's very, very important, and it will help greatly, to get better insight in ourselves.